folks, welcome back to Flatirons Tuning. You might not recognize us because we are not in the shop. We are out in the wild. We've got our 2024 WRX on a Subaru's natural environment, a dirt road. It is finally time to take the car out, test the brakes, the suspension we put on it, see if we're moving in the right direction. Is it working the way we want it to? So that's what we're going to do today. Now, before we dive into that, just want to say, if you like what we're doing with the channel, if you like the content that we're putting out, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the merch below. Head over to FlatironsTuning.com. All that support helps us keep coming back to make this content for you. With all that being said, yeah, we've got the car out on the rough stuff for the first time, and boy, this is fun. In fact, let's just hop in the car. Let's take a ride. Let's talk about it. This ditch is way steeper and deeper than you'd think, and we just went over that like nothing.
Didn't even feel
it. Fair amount of washboards. It's not bad.
Just a little bit of vibration, but no bumpiness.
Yeah, for being on a dirt road, it's not too bad.
Totally steady, no lateral movement. It's not bouncy at all.
That feels good. It was a little bit slippery in the corners coming in, so we might run into that. Feels like it's got a decent amount of traction for a dirt road. I mean, we're still on, basically all-season tires, like nothing, not a fancy tread or anything like that, but I mean, it feels good. It feels like you would expect a Subaru would feel like on a dirt road like this.
How you would want it to feel on a dirt road like this, for sure.
I'm not terribly surprised that it's sliding a little bit. It's stepping out a little bit. Oh my. Okay, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's like the front's got a little bit more grip than the back does, which, there's no sway bar up front. There is a sway bar in the rear. That could be playing a part there. It's controllable, but yeah. I think some better tires and maybe a little playing around with the settings a little bit more. I have a little bit more confidence, but it's fine.
Agreed. Feels awesome.
It does, yeah. I mean, compared to what I would guess the stock suspension would have felt like on this kind of road, this is like, a cloud might be overstating it, but I mean, it's in that ballpark.
Yeah, it's of course you still feel little cracks and stuff like that, but that's it. It's just a little crack. It's like if you run over a wire in the middle of the road.
Yep.
It's just a tiny little tick, not even a bump.
Yep, not a big deal. And then you get onto the street, and man, just even rough pavement. I mean, you're still feeling the bumps. It's not like you're floating, but man, the ride is so much more compliant than what it was with the stock suspension. I mean, it feels like this is how the car should have been. This feels like the Subaru.
Definitely. It's almost, I've been trying to find the right words for the stock suspension. I think it felt like they made a compromise of clearly on-road and off-road performance, and now this is just actually better on both so far, it seems like.
The stock suspension, just driving on a straight road with a little bit of bumps. I mean, we got a little bit of bumps here. That's just kind of what you get, but it just felt a little bit nervous, a little bit twitchy. And now it just feels, the car feels like it's soaking up the bumps way better. It feels way more planted, and it's not as off-putting in the driver's seat. It just feels like a road. That's fine. And then to know that you can take these big bumps and stuff and it just soaks them up. That's confidence inspiring. And that's what we were going for, and that's what we got.
How much of it is? Was there?
There was. That was a pothole that could eat a car.
Oh my gosh. How much of it is down to the tires, and how much of it is actually
the looseness, or
the looseness in the rear? Yeah. I mean, they're definitely a factor, but
yeah.
I mean, it kind of felt like it was just stiff,
Well, and it could be the sway bar. I mean, it could be. I mean, the first thing that I would do is I would disconnect the rear sway bar too, so that because that's what we have in the rally cars. There's no sway bar in the front, no sway bar in the back. And then the suspension is just doing its job. Not having any camber in the rear, that's going to make the car loose as well. Though with like rally tires, with rally car, usually we only set it up to about like a half a degree.
But the sidewall plays a lot.
But you got rally tires and a sidewall that's basically like completely a right angle. And so then that edge of the tire is what is grabbing and kind of giving you a little bit more control in those slides. Whereas here we don't have that luxury. I think having the rear sway bar, not the front, and then the tires, those two factors are making it a little bit looser in the back.
Sure.
But I mean, the plus of that is that, I mean, there's so much more grip up front. I mean, basically just turning in a little bit more and giving a little bit of throttle, and the rear end is immediately out.
It wasn't scary at all. Very predictable.
Very controllable, because you lift off on the throttle, snaps back in line. You have to pay attention. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because now, okay, you have to be engaged with the car as you're driving it.
Yeah.
As soon as that rear end stepped down, I was like, okay, got to focus here. Like, but that's what makes it engaging. That's a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing.
Totally.
But you got to know what it is. You got to know that it's there, because you'll, like, if you're, doing a panic stop or something like that in the snow, then that's a little bit of a different story.
Sure.
The really interesting thing to me is that, at least I don't know for certain, but I did not feel traction control kick in at all.
I was going to ask about that, because I didn't hear it or anything.
No.
I didn't hear ABS, and so it does allow for some slip, at least.
Or it was as confused as we were, and it just didn't know to intervene. But yeah, I mean, I didn't feel any kind of traction control, any kind of like braking or slowing down. I don't know.
Interesting.
So it wasn't bad. It was what it was.
All right.
But yeah. All right, so now we have to talk about the brakes. These brakes are awesome. I mean, I totally get why the TR comes with them. I don't know why any WRX doesn't come with these brakes. The biggest difference is, like, they just feel like they have a ton of stopping power right from the word go, and the control you have is just so much better. You just have so much control and modulation. It's just way more confidence inspiring than the stock brakes, and as we keep driving it and bending these in more, it just keeps getting better. Now we went with HP Plus pads up front, HPS in the rear. It's a little squeaky, but again, just like the control, here's Carter. You can just immediately get into that ABS, and it is just awesome. Stop on a dime and give you 9 cents change. Now this last thing we're going to try, speed bumps. Not to go over crazy fast, but just to see what the car does. There's some pretty large speed bumps here in this parking lot that will definitely test the suspension. So we're going to see what that's all about. So when you're going over straight, the car pretty much just takes up the speed bump. I'm going to go at a diagonal, because that'll really articulate the suspension. Let's just see what happens. Still pretty smooth. Yep, just kind of soaks those big bumps up. All right, final thoughts. Are we moving in the right direction? Absolutely. The brakes, as good as the suspension is, I think actually the brake upgrade is probably the most impressive part of this. I mean, it feels like you have so much control of the car in stopping, so much more than you do with this car on the stock brakes. Like, I don't know why there's any WRX that doesn't have these 6 pistons from the factory. So that's awesome. Close second, though, is the suspension, and we're absolutely moving in the right direction. It turns this car into a beast. This WRX into like what I would picture as what a WRX should be. Like if you want it to be extremely capable and ready to go on a dirt road, that's what this suspension does, hands down. And I think with a little bit more tweaking and maybe some better tires, but even more than that. And that's what makes it exciting, because then you see a dirt road and you want to go for it. You see bumps on the road. You just want to attack all of these obstacles instead of trying to move away from them. That's kind of the fun of an all-purpose vehicle like the WRX could be and should be, compared to something that like a tarmac race car, where like if you see a speed bump, you're gonna try and avoid it, versus just going like, I got this, I can go over it. You want to go over it diagonally? Sure, no problem. The car just can handle anything you can throw at it, and that's just awesome. And the ride is, I think, better. I think the ride is better and smoother than what it was with the stock suspension. It makes this car exciting now. I know that the car has the stopping. I know that the car has the suspension. I haven't even thought about power, and don't necessarily even feel that we have to think about power yet, because it's just so capable and so much fun now to just drive around and go out there and explore, find weird roads, obstacles, those sorts of things to take the car on. So yeah, really enjoying it so far. A couple more fine-tuning things. The next big obstacle for us is tires. We kind of know what we want from a tire, but I don't know if we can find it, so that's going to be the challenge. But we want to get some tires on, get the car aligned, and then just start doing some more stuff with this thing. Rallycross, yeah, I'm thinking rallycross, more dirt roads, more driving, yeah, and yes, even the track. Don't worry, we're still going to take it to the track. So yeah, so thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support. Thanks for all you guys that are really excited about all the VB content that we're putting out. Yeah, we had a flurry of activity here recently, and so it might be a little bit of a lull, but yeah, there's more in store. We're going to keep going with this thing. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support as always. Until next time, stay tuned to Flatirons Tuning.